Hello, good morning everyone. This is Giacomo and this is a new tour of mine. In fact, I'm not in actual Venice in the city, but I'm on the island of the Lido and more precisely near the village of Malamocco. That is the focus of this new tour of mine. So welcome everyone. Probably some of you were on my previous tour I did a couple of hours ago. I started a couple of hours ago. It was a tour I had already done on the large craft of the public transportation system that connects Venice to the Lido and Punta Sabbioni. Okay, it was a bit noisy because this craft, I wanted to stay on the upper deck outside, and the price is to pay was the noise. So maybe now you can have a more tranquil tour. So again, hello Mark, Patricia, Carol, hello, Anna, Dale. Okay, it's about 8:15 here, another minute to go, and I guess I see someone from Australia. So I guess many of you are from Europe, Australia. I guess there are a few from North America, and especially those who live on the western coast, where it should be 11:15 p.m. of yesterday. While I don't think there is anyone from the eastern coast, because there it's already... Okay, Mexico, okay, Patricia. Okay, what time is over there, Patricia? Should be already late, bedtime, I guess. Anyway, hello from Chicago. Okay, Chicago, Mark. So there it's 1:15 a.m. Okay, like in Mexico. No, okay, so are you sleepless over there in Illinois or Mexico? But anyway, you see, we are quite lucky to have such a beautiful day. And UK, okay, Kanika, hello. Now it's time to start. So again, welcome you all. Thank you for joining this new tour of mine, the tour of the village of Malamocco, which is on the island of the Lido. So it's a new tour. I didn't know where to start. Then I was having another look before starting, and then I decided to come here on the edge of the sea, because I guess I never showed the sea, the open sea, in one of my tours, so that was a good chance to show it to you. And again, because it's such a beautiful morning. Yeah, so let's use the other camera. Okay. And first of all, let's have a look at the open sea here. And the sun that has set about 1.5 hours ago. So this part of the Lido has no beaches. The beaches are over there, but there is also another beach south of this. And I'm standing on top of this colossal dam. This was built in the 18th century during the Republic of Venice times, and this is a dam to protect the island of the Lido from the sea. Very often sea storms were and are so strong that they just erode, they just consume the island away. So it was finally decided in the 18th century to build such a huge dam that you see is made of this part here, almost flat, like just a sweet steep in in the so-called Eastern stone, these white stones, this white slab of stones you can see here under my feet, and a taller barrier over there. So these are called Murazzi. It's like large walls. Muro means wall. Murazzi have been protecting Venice for about 200 years, and they work very well. I mean, the only time that couldn't shield Venice from the power of the sea was in the great flooding of 1966, when the tide was so high and the winds were so strong that even the strong-looking Murazzi couldn't do much against the force of nature. So these Murazzi were built both on top of the island, along the island of the Lido, and also on the other island that is south of here, of Pellestrina. Both the Lido here and Pellestrina there are strips, thin and long strips of land that separate the sea south from the lagoon, which is on my right, and now we can't see, but I will show it to you later. So the island works as a barrier, and still it was necessary, the intervention of people to strengthen these natural barriers with these colossal works of the Murazzi over here. So this is also a beautiful promenade you see here along the Murazzi. This it almost covers the whole length of the Lido, which is about 10 kilometers long. So the Lido will end over there. It's a little bit hazy over there, so we can't see well, but it's a very long island, and also a very beautiful stroll to take here, especially at this time in the early morning. So now, behind this street, this road, you see some reeds. Now I'm going down to, and I will head towards the village of Malamocco. You will see it's about 3-4 minutes walk, and you won't see much because this is the the view for the next 3 or 4 months. So let me give you some information on the place. I wrote in the title of this tour that Malamocco is such an old village that is even older than Venice itself. It was not an exaggeration to attract you people, but it was quite true, because on the right here, it will be much clearer in a few moments, there used to be a tiny village established, a tiny settlement established in the Roman days. This means the first centuries of our era, second century of our era. This tiny settlement was the only settlement on the island of the Lido for centuries. Okay, now I can show you better. You see there is this canal that surrounds this islet over there, and on top of this island there was this Roman settlement that was called Malamocco. It was even Venice didn't exist yet, and it was the port of the city of Padua. Padua is on the mainland, close to rivers, but without the sea nearby. So from Padua, along those rivers and canals, they could get here and finally get to the sea. So on top of this islet here, there used to be the village of Malamocco. So Linda is asking, how do you get here? Oh, it's very simple, because the Lido, the island, the whole island, is connected to Venice with lots of lines of the public transportation system that arrive where the center, the main village of the Lido is, that is called Santa Maria Elisabetta. From there you can take a bus, because on the Lido there are cars. You can take a bus, and in about 10-15 minutes you get here. So this is how I did this morning after my previous tour from the, let's call it the main downtown Lido. I took a bus and got here in about 15 minutes. Okay, as you can see now, I got to a more quotation mark civilized place. So that wild-looking promenade along the sea is very close to the village of Malamocco. We are not yet in the center of in the village, even though you can see buildings on my left. These are very recent buildings, and these actually belong to Malamocco. But the village itself is much more picturesque, as you will see in a few minutes. Okay, Susie is commenting on the street lamps. Yeah, I mean, they are nice. Okay, you see, again, you can see this canal, and the canal surrounds this land we see on the other side. Now it's not possible to access this islet, because on top of it a fort was built during the Austrian rule in the 19th century, and it still belongs to the army. So it's not open to the public for the moment. Okay, Susie, I didn't notice the other street lamp, sorry. Yes, it is a beautiful city. Patricia. I will think about it, of course. Thank you for the suggestion. I always welcome suggestions about new tours. I must say I do prefer Venice, because it's such a resource plentiful. It's plentiful of options for tours, but why not? Padua is indeed a beautiful city. Okay, so you see that again behind. Excuse me. Let me move quickly. So behind here, it's the islet with this canal that surrounds the former. So this is the land where the former village of Malamocco used to be, the Roman settlement. This Roman settlement was abandoned at a certain time. But before being abandoned, it became the capital of what would have become the Republic of Venice. In fact, the second Doge, but it's something encapsulated in legend, the second Doge moved here. They were living in a place east of Venice called Eraclea. So they moved here, and it was this. It seems absurd, it seems preposterous, but this here was the capital of what would have become the Republic of Venice for about 70 years. We are talking of the 740 and 42 until 811. Okay, so after it was abandoned, so after 811, the Doge moved to Rialto, that would have been called Venice, and so a new village was founded, the one that we can see on the other side of this canal, and this was called Malamocco Nova, the new Malamocco, and then from Malamocco the modern name of Malamocco comes. So let's get inside the village. You see we have this nice bridge and this nice door. The bridge is necessary to cross the canal, another canal that surrounds the village. Of course, the village was modified several times, and one of the most obvious alterations regards water. So the canal that used to go along the center of the village, and I'm referring to this part here, where these boats are docked. The canal that used to go along the village was filled in, and you see that. Okay, now I understand these lamps. Yes, these are much more interesting than the other one. So you see that the canal ends here, and after that it becomes ordinary road. We call this Rio Terra, which means a canal, Rio, filled in. Terra, in terra. Terra is a Venetian word. In Italian we would say interrato. And okay, so this is the Rio Terra, which is the largest street in the village, but this is not the real center, the real core of the village. This is even a car road. What is much more interesting is on our right. So let's go along this narrow alley and let's go to the core of the village. It has the look, it has the feeling of a countryside village. Only a few people live here today, and after this new village was founded, we know, we have documentation, we have papers that it already existed in 1100. It became more peripheral. It had the same privileges of the old village, the Roman village, but for sure it became more peripheral because the center of the city was moved on the islands that now we call Venice. But, for example, the village, even if small, even if far away from the center of the actual city, it had its own podesta. The podesta is the name of the chief magistrate, and the chief magistrate had his residence in this beautiful red building I'm going to show you, and that you already see over there. This is the Palazzo Pretorio, which is like the town hall, and in which the podesta, the chief magistrate of the place, lived and worked. And as you can see, even if it was altered, it was modified during these centuries, it still has this beautiful trifora, the three light windows on the first floor. That means that behind there is a large hall. Chioggia is also very nice. I would like to do a tour there. I go there as much as I can, and I must say, here, Malamocco, Pellestrina, also the other island. Oopla, sorry. Okay, something happened to the gimbal, I don't know why. Okay, I was saying that Malamocco looks very much like Pellestrina and Chioggia. So, of course, on the facade of the town hall, there is the symbol of the city, the winged lion, symbol of St. Mark the Evangelist, the patron saint of the city, and the symbol also of the Republic of Venice. This is something that you will notice very often around the city. In the plaque below under the lion, it is engraved the name of Giuseppe Garibaldi, the man who took a great part, an important part in the process of the unity of Italy. In 1860, he started this campaign along the whole peninsula, and he really traveled everywhere. And you can find these type of plaques everywhere in Italy. And this is the main campo. So even though we have cars, scooters, etc., the road sign, the names of the streets and squares are the same as in Venice. So the square are called a campo, as you can read from the road sign there, and it's called Campo della Chiesa. Yes, Jen, check out Chioggia. This is really interesting. Campo della Chiesa, because opposite the town hall on my right, there's the church of Santa Maria dell'Assunta, the Assumption of the Lady. And it has almost a plain facade, not very interesting, but the church is really old here. So it was built in the 15th century, modified the following century, and again. You see, it sports this simple facade in bricks that have been plastered, and a nice, interesting Gothic portal. Okay, sundial on the square. Jen, what did you see? Is that a sundial in the square? Okay, I'm looking around, but I see no sundial. If you refer on the facade of the church, that's a round window. But again, I don't see sundial. If you can tell me more, Linda. Probably Jen was referring to on the pavement. Oh, I can't see any sundial, Jen. But thank you, Linda, because I also wanted to talk about these two very different wellheads. Yes, this is one, and over there is another one. Two very different shapes. The one over there is much older than this one, and the wellheads that I've probably also shown during my tours in the city are a constant presence around the city. Very important since Venice has no springs. There's no not water, drinkable water in the city, and so they came up with the idea of collecting rainwater. But if you notice around the wellhead, there are often these white slabs that have holes, so rainwater was collected through these holes under and around the wellhead. There is a sort of tank with sand taken from rivers. The sand worked as a filter for the rainwater, and finally, after being filtered, the water was collected in a cistern under the wellhead. So people who lived in the area could take their water from these cisterns. So they're not actually wells, just the top of it, we call it a wellhead. They were cisterns, not actually wells with natural water underneath, but it's again rainwater, filtered rainwater. So the top of the wellheads were closed. Usually the keys of these lids were kept by the priest, and they opened the lids twice a day to let the people collect the water they needed. Yes, both of them have winged lion, Linda. Also this one, and also the other one. But again, the winged lion is very frequent. It's a very frequent symbol seen, visible around the city everywhere. Okay, so this is Campo della Chiesa. Again, this was the core of the city, the political, because we have here again the town hall, and the religious for the presence of the Church of Santa Maria dell'Assunta. Yes. And also it has some beautiful facade like this house here, which means that here wealthy, important people of the place used to live. So Malamocco is in between the open. Here the island is very narrow, so the village is very close to the sea, as you could see, but it's even closer to the lagoon. And that's something that I'm going to show you now. So the center of the village is close to the cars. It's only a pedestrian area. But once you get out of the center, you have cars again. And along the lagoon, there is an important road that goes, as you can see, cars are speeding here, because this is an important road that is bordering the lagoon, and it covers the whole length of the island of the Lido. So again, if you want to come, you take a bus in the village of Santa Maria Elisabetta over there where the ferries arrive. You take the bus goes along this road and arrives here. And the road borders the lagoon. This is something I want to show you now. But before, again, more canals. The canal here borders the village on the northern side. And this is an operating canal because you see boats moored, so you can navigate this canal. And from this side, you can, by boat, you can get out under the bridge there and get out to the lagoon. So it's not possible to get from the sea into the lagoon through this canal, because again the whole of the Lido has no outlet to the sea, but of course it has openings towards the lagoon. Okay, we are now. Okay, that's the bus I meant before. Okay, I'm going to bring you now on the other side of the road and show you something of the lagoon that we can see from here. But yes, cars drive quite fast here, so I need to go over there to cross on the zebra crossing. Of course, during the centuries, the importance of this hamlet, of this village, decreased, and while it used to be a municipality on its own, because it had its own podestà, as I said before, that was a sort of mayor, it was then, it became part of the Lido municipality until 1933, when the Lido municipality itself was dissolved and became part of the Venice municipality, like it is still today. So the municipality of Venice is quite large. It's one of the largest in Italy, and the island of the Lido is part of it. Okay, now I'm on a deck, on a sort of deck here over the lagoon. So we are. I'm pointing the camera south for the moment, and what you see is the southern end of the island of the Lido. So the road goes up to there. You see that at the bottom there are buildings. That is a large hospital. And at the very end there are smaller buildings that are houses. And that's another village called Alberoni. Okay, what you see here, especially those small, those islets there. First of all, you see this one. If you notice, it has very regular walls around it, and it is in a shape of an octagon, 8-sided walled islands. These islands were fortifications. This means that not just opposite that island, okay, I used too much the finger, sorry. So just opposite that island there is the outlet, the opening to the sea between the island of the Lido, which ends just over there, and the island of Pelestrina. That is the second most important outlet that connects the open sea to the lagoon. Okay, I'm moving the camera west now, and at the bottom there you see a group of white construction. That's the mainland, and again all the strip of land that you see over there, it's the mainland. And also you can see some tall chimneys there. That's the industrial area of Porto Marghera on the mainland. And finally we have here an interesting, a super interesting place, the island of Poveglia. Okay, let me get there and then I'll zoom in. This is very close to the Lido, and not far from here. This is another very old place. It's called again Poveglia, and probably the name comes from the Latin name Popiglia, because along the Lido, along all the islands here, they used to have there used to be a Roman road called Popeglia. So that was a sort of station post along the road that ran on the islands here. And Poveglia has interesting history. Now, unfortunately, it's an abandoned place, and also you cannot go there. It belongs to the municipality and the state, the Italian state. Actually, it belongs to a public company called OK. Now I have a wasp that is attacking me. Okay, sorry. It belongs to this public company called Lido di Venezia. That is, the owners are both the municipality of Venice and the Italian state. Okay, they tried, like other islands, they tried to rent it. They usually offer these islands for long-term rent, 99 years, but you have to accept strict conditions. For example, you have to renovate the buildings, you have to maintain the place, you have to tend it. Someone has to live on the island permanently, so it's not so easy to have one of these islands rented. And a few years ago, a non-profit association tried to rent it, and they offered some money. Funds were raised by the association, and it was quite successful. They placed an offer, but at the last moment, a businessman offered more, but for a series of reasons too long to explain, it was not allowed. It was not granted to this businessman, and so the place has remained abandoned for the moment. Poveglia also has this legend, since it was for a period leper hospital. There's a large number of bodies buried there, so it's like a cemetery. And the legend says there are ghosts on it, so it attracts people who are interested in the paranormal activities. There was about 12 years ago, there was even an American, I don't know much of him, an American investigator on this paranormal activity, whose name is Zach Bagans. Maybe some of you know him. And he filmed on Poveglia one of his so-called ghost adventures. And he revealed that, according to his tale, he was possessed for a few minutes by an evil spirit. And that happened about 12 years ago, I think 2009, on top of the island of Poveglia. So Poveglia has this legend of ghosts, evil spirits staying on the island. But it's really an interesting place. So what you see now are some buildings that used to be the hospital and the bell tower, the campanile, without a church. The church was the Church of San Vitale, and it was demolished in 1810 during the Napoleon rule of the city, the French rule of the city, a time in which many religious buildings were closed and even demolished. And so that's the case also of the Church of Poveglia. But for some reasons, the campanile still stands there. So you see that the island is very close to the island of the Lido. You can reach it if you have a boat, you can reach it just in a few minutes. But it's not allowed to go there because, again, it's not open to the public. Okay, so now I would like to offer a final view of the village of Malamocco. The village of Malamocco also has something interesting, and even more recent, because a comics writer and okay, now I'm missing the words. Okay, I don't remember the word in English of those who write comics. Anyway, he was an artist called Ugo Pratt. He was not from Venice, but his mom was from here, and exactly from Malamocco. So at one time he bought a house here and lived here. He had his atelier there, and he started drawings. I started drawing these stories, the comics of this character called Corto Maltese, an adventurer, a sailor, very fascinating man. If you look up, you will see him. And he set some of the stories of Corto Maltese here on the island of Malamocco. So there is also this recent connection with comics thanks to Ugo Pratt. This not Venetian, it was from Rimini, that died in 1995. Okay, now I would like to thank you again for joining. If you comic book, yes, but what I was looking was the word that refers to the artist that writes and draws comics. Cartoonist. Okay, thank you, Linda. That is the one. So his name was Ugo Pratt, and the name of the character is Corto Maltese. I must say that many of the stories of Corto Maltese are really evocative, really fascinating, and again, a few of them are set here in the village where Ugo Pratt, the cartoonist, used to live for a time. Okay, now thank you again. I hope you, again, this was the first time I did this tour, so maybe I have to improve something. Let me know if you have idea. If you have ideas to suggest. Oh, thank you very much, Jen, for the tip. Oh, thank you, Norma. Thank you, Jen. And what else? Thank you very much. Let me turn the camera so I can show you my face and also the lagoon behind me. Thank you very much. You mean, Anna, you mean, yes, there is a cat sanctuary not far from here. Anna, you mean the tour I did this morning was on the boat, so if you meant that, yes, I will think. I think I will do it again sooner or later. I don't know when. And yes, thank you, Linda. This again, this is one of those unique places in Venice, or as in this case, very close to the city. That I must say, from some aspects, luckily, they are not very known, because as you could see, well, it's also early in the morning now, but you could see it has this tranquil feeling, this tranquil feel. It's sort of countryside village, even though we are very close to this marvelous city of Venice, which is, again, not far from here. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm going to have another coffee now, because I woke up very early this morning to do also the other two. And thank you all for joining. Thank you. If you don't follow my channel yet, please do it. Just press the button on the top right corner. You should have this follow button. If you click on it, you become a follower of my channel, and you know, the more followers, the more visible the channel is. And thank you for also special thanks to those who gave me a tip or will give me a tip. And hope to see you soon again. I will do another tour tomorrow afternoon. Yes, I will. I was thinking to do a tour over the car. I will do this tour tomorrow of the area. It's an architecture tour of the area near the car terminal, Piazzale Roma. I did it already a few times, so if you missed it, please join me tomorrow. It's at 5 o'clock Italian time. Again, thank you very much. Have a good day, or someone says I'm going to bed, so have a good night. Grazie ancora e arrivederci. Ciao.